Hey guys, got another collector's review for you. This time, we're going retro. It's a Retro Ranger review. I give you the Morpher, or Henshin Brace, and the Battleizer from Power Rangers in Space. Yeah, you heard that right, in space. Long time ago. Originally aired in Japan as Denji Sentai Megaranger back in 1995. In Japan, 1996 for here in America. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh well, I just found these used on eBay or Amazon, whatever have you. I did not. Ladies and gentlemen, these are my original Power Rangers in Space or Denji Sentai Megaranger Morpher and Battleizer from when I was a kid. I got these for Christmas one year. I believe I was only, I want to say I was about 11 years old. I was 11 when I received these. And they were my favorite toys for a good couple of years. I mean, I didn't put them down. I wore them all the time. And what's even funnier is that, yeah, well, they may still have some scratches, some wear and tear, as you might be able to see, but or maybe not be able to see from this distance anyway. I'll give you a close-up here in a minute. But the straps themselves are still in perfect condition, even after my little brother Scott looked after them for so long and just kept them in a box, didn't really mess with them much, but I'm glad he kept them as safe as possible. They still work perfectly. The batteries, all the functions, the buttons, even the stickers that are on them, even though this has no stickers and this has one sticker, but just regardless, the sticker is still perfectly fine. Everything works great. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a quick run through of how these toys work. Unfortunately, they don't they don't make these anymore, so yeah, your only way to get these would be from eBay or Amazon. If you found one new, mint in box, get ready to pay a good couple $100s for it. I do not remember the price, obviously, from when I originally received these, when I was still only 11 years old, when the show was still new and fresh, because I was a kid and it was a gift, so obviously no parent tells their kid what their gifts cost. So that's just given. But again, they look great, they fit great, and they still work. That's the important part. That's the miraculous part, is that they still work. I am amazed that they still work. You just put some fresh batteries in it, and off they go. Let me give you guys a really quick view here. You can definitely tell that there is some scuffing, and there are some paint defects, obviously, from wear and play. But the Morpher, but they do still work. I do have plans to restore it, to get the proper paint and fix it all up for you guys, because I do eventually plan on doing a Mega Red or Red Ranger cosplay from Power Rangers in Space. That is definitely on my list for one of my two Red Ranger cosplays I want to do. I want to do Mega Red from Power Rangers in Space or Denji Sentai Mega Ranger, and I also want to do Shishi Red, which is going to be the Red Ranger from Uchu Sentai Kyu Ranger, which is the newest series in Japan. So as of right now, those are my only two planned Red Ranger cosplays that I plan on doing. Everything else is either going to be gold, silver, orange, whatever have you. Even though I'm only doing one Orange Ranger cosplay, which would be Tokyo number 6 from Russia Sentai Tokyo. But let's go ahead and get on with this here. The buttons, or the switches to activate them, are located on the sides, on the inside of the toys. So we'll go ahead and flip on the Morpher, and it gives you a sound letting you know that it's on. And as you hear right there, you'll hear a beep. That lets you know that the toy is still on. Personally, I always kind of wish that the beep would kind of be a little bit more spaced out and not beep so often, because that's what drains the battery in these toys. obviously leaving them on, but at least it does give you an indication that the toy is on, because some kids, some kids can't read the indications on whether or not the switch is in the on position or off position, and they just end up leaving it on, and it drains the battery completely. But we'll go ahead and turn on the Battleizer. No sound indication for the Battleizer when you flip that on, so it's not like the Morpher. It just switches on. You got to make sure you turn it off when you're done with it. But let me go ahead and show you how this works. I'll have to get up again, and this is going to be a little awkward. But the switch right here, the red switch, is what opens up the function panel, just like so. And you'll see that there's all sorts of numbers and functions that you can press. And the screen here, I'm going to go ahead and take this off. It'll be a lot easier. I'm going to go ahead and switch it off just real quick so it doesn't keep on beeping and annoying the hell out of everybody. But it tells you all the functions right here on the sticker. The sticker, yes, is still pristine and really in really good condition because I always stored it in the closed position. That way the sticker would not get damaged or ruined. Now, there is 3 numbers that you have to put in sequence and then hit the enter button to get the desired function sound out of the Morpher. We'll go ahead and switch on. Lights up here. Speaker is right here, unshielded, completely fine. So that's good. It's very loud because there's nothing obstructing the speaker. Obviously, the very first is 335, and that is for the morphing sequence. So we're going to hit and then hit enter. And that is the morphing sequence. The second 3 numbers summons the Megaranger's primary weapon. In Mega Red's case, it would be his drill saber. So you would want to hit 259. And that's just a simple little sound summoning his primary weapon. 761 would be the function to I want to believe it's the function to summon their Zords. So we're going to hit 761. Enter. That summons the Zord. The 4th number sequence, I believe, would be to, is obviously like a special attack. So we're going to hit 108. Enter. It's either it was either a special attack or it was a communication feature. I want to say more along the lines it was a communication feature just because of the sound that it gives. And the second to last one here is 541, and that forms the Megazord. And you hear a bit of a link-up connection kind of sound there, obviously forming the Megazord. The last one, however, the 912, is actually a small mini-game on this, and it's actually rather annoying and repetitive. It's basically just a number matching game. Whenever it says the number sequence, that's the number sequence you have to press in time to go on to the next level of the game. Now, I'm going to go ahead and sit back down. Several Morphers in the past have had small little mini games on them. I do plan on doing a review of Boken Silver or the Mercury Rangers Morpher from Go-Go Sentai, Bokenger, or here in America, Power Rangers Operation Overdrive. That also has a mini game on it. But however, that Morpher is the Bandai of Japan version, and obviously I don't speak fluent Japanese, so it's hard to tell if I'm actually getting some of the answers right on the minigame or not. It's actually really, really hard to tell. But again, for being as old as this is, it's nearly 2018, and this series was in 1996. So, almost 22 years old, this Morpher is, believe it or not. And being in still such good condition that it is, I'm really, really surprised and very pleased that it still works fine. I'm going to go ahead and attach it back to my wrist again real quick here. The Velcro is still nice and fresh and holds great. But yeah, it's as simple as that. They would flip the switch, hit, and they would morph. Pretty simple, but I do like all the features. Again, I would show you the game, but it's really repetitive, and I don't want to drain the battery too much. I pretty much gave you a rundown of what the game was, though. So let's move on to the Battleizer, which again, the Battleizer was only supposed to be in Power Rangers in space. The Battleizer was only used by the Red Ranger Andros. Now, because I haven't seen Megaranger in its entirety, I'm not going to go ahead and state that it doesn't exist in Megaranger, because I'm fairly certain it does. I'm just certain that its use, its function, might have been a tad different than its use in Power Rangers in space. But again, this was used as a secondary morpher for Andros, the Red Ranger, so he could enter his Mega Mode. No pun intended, because the Japanese series of this show was called Megaranger. But every Red Ranger's got apparently a Mega Mode, or a Super Mode, or some kind of powered up mode. I've talked about that plenty of times before. Not all of them are originally in the Japanese show. Some of them were made just for the American series. Hence, one of the, we'll take the Dino Thunder Red Ranger from Power Rangers Dino Thunder. He did have a powered up mode in Japan. It was a Bari Max mode. But here in America, we added another Mega Mode to him where he had big cannons and his legs could extend like freaking slinkies. It was weird, and I didn't like it. So that's just a small example of how not every Red Ranger originally had a Mega Mode, and sometimes they were just created for the American audiences. But yeah, this was what he used as an extra weapon, and also to activate his Mega Mode. The device is already on. It's an on switch right here. To access its features, you hit this button here. That will slide back. It's on a spring, as you see, just a little spring. And there's only 3 buttons on here. There's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go ahead and press the first button. Okay. And as you can see, the light at the end still lights up and works just fine. Number 1 is obviously some kind of activation sequence. Number 2 is a laser. It gives you a nice little laser shooting sound. So that's kind of interesting. Number 3, however, is the one where he would press to actually activate his Mega Mode, his powered up form. Again, very simple toy, not a whole lot to it. That's pretty much all there is to it. But at least once again, it has a fairly unshielded speaker. That way you can hear the sound effects loud and clear. The detail is still really nice. One thing that I do have to mention as well is that back in the day, when I was a kid, Bandai of America would basically just take the Japanese version of the toys and just replace some of the sound functions, basically the sound chips within it, and obviously translate any Japanese language that's present on it into English. That way, the kids here in America could read it and operate the toy properly. Nowadays, Bandai of America wants to make everything smaller for little kids. Smaller, less detailed, less paint, less features, less sounds, less functions, less everything. Bandai of America, let's just put it this way. they suck when it comes to making Power Ranger toys here in the new millennium. They just cannot do it. They try to cut back on costs, and everything is just mediocre, and it's just for little kids basically. The only thing worth collecting from Bandai of America, in my mind, would probably be some of the action figures and Zords. That's it. Don't buy the Morphers, don't buy the toys. Granted, I have before, but that's so I can make a nice comparison for you guys, which I do have some more comparison videos coming up here soon, very, very soon. But I've done at least a couple of them in the past, comparing the differences between American and Japanese Bandai Power Ranger Super Sentai toys. One was Dino Charge and Kyoryuger, and the other was Gokaiger and Super Mega Force. And the difference between the toys were so drastic, it made me want to laugh, made me want to cry, made me want to puke. It was terrible. But as you see, some toys are worth hanging on to. 22 years that I've had these two toys, and they still work totally fine. They just need a little bit of TLC, some tender loving care, and some, a little bit of a new paint job, and they're good to go. Perfect for cosplay and stuff like that. But you can't cosplay as a Ranger using the American toys. You just can't, because they look absolutely ridiculous. But the Bandai of Japan versions, yeah, you can cosplay with those toys. Aside from maybe having to extend the length on something every now and again, that's totally fine too. Which I've had to do in the past with my Abari Black Brachiostaff and such and so forth. So definitely worth it, that if you can get your hands on the Japanese version of Morphers and weapons and stuff like that, do that. Not even a question. Yeah, you're paying more money, but you're getting an actual, more authentic, detailed, faithful replica from the show. Don't even bother with the American version. It's not even worth it. So yeah, that's basically my my review, my retro Ranger review of Denji Sentai Megaranger / Power Rangers in Space, Morpher, and Battleizer. They're definitely worth every penny that my parents obviously spent on them back when I was only 11, because I'm sure the value now has probably quadrupled. Because when I looked the Morpher up on eBay or Amazon, whatever have you, because I usually check all my sources. I usually check both. Mint in box from the Japanese version, mint in box, you're easily looking at about $250. But even the American version, which I've said is exactly the same as the Japanese version, just a different sound chip inside. Even used the American version, this right here, you're looking at well over $100. So so when you find it, if you want it, go for it. The Battleizer, a little bit different, a little bit cheaper. Japanese version, you're probably looking at about $100 or more. But the American version, but again, not really any different. Just different sound chips, and even then, I'm not so sure. It might just be different. Have American language instead of Japanese language on it. You're probably looking at about $50 or more for the Battleizer. Whether it's new, used, whatever, the American one will easily land you about $50-$60 on eBay, while this one is the more expensive one. So, got another collector's review coming up here later this week, guys. Obviously this coming Saturday, a new review of Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Unfortunately, I keep putting myself through that. I don't know why. But until then, guys, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. If you haven't already, you know the deal. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope to see you all soon. Rangers ready, go.